Yo, what's going on guys? Arekkz here. Welcome back to another video for Monster Hunter Rise, and this one is incredibly exciting because I can now officially bring you some gameplay from the demo, which drops very soon. And in this one, I want to kick it off by showing off the hunting horn, because this is, if you've seen the weapon previews, of all the weapons we've seen, the most exciting. And honestly, having gone hands-on with it and had a chance to get to know this weapon, I think everybody is going to become a hunting horn main in Rise. They might as well call Monster Hunter Rise Monster Hunter Hunting Horn Edition, because yo, this weapon is off the wall. It is insane. It is, if you didn't like Hunting Horn before, you're going to like it now. If you wanted to play Hunting Horn and just thought it was too complicated, you're going to want to play it now. Basically, this weapon is nuts. So, if you guys do enjoy this, then a like would be super appreciated. Obviously, for those of you guys asking, when Monster Hunter Rise does officially launch, I will be doing a full set of weapon tutorials going over everything you could possibly need to know, much like we did in Monster Hunter World, helping everybody get to know their weapons. But for the time being, since it's just the demo and since some of this stuff does change, and of course we don't necessarily have the full picture of the weapons, you know, there might be more Silkbind moves, things like that, I will be saving tutorials until the game launches. But for the time being, let's talk about the hunting horn, because what is new? Well, more to the point, what is not new? First thing first, when you get the horn, you'll notice just kind of in general gameplay, it feels pretty fast to use, you know, motion-wise. Also kind of pairing that with the fact that it's got new animations, all of your things are quite flashy. You've got these sort of breakdance moves worked in. You do still have a lot of your regular combos you're familiar with from World. The kind of great thing is that if any of you guys are coming from World, and you use that as sort of like your baseline, a lot of the time the moves and the kind of combos you know will, for the most part, still be present in Rise. There are some changes, you know, some of the weapons have had some moves removed or changed or things like that, but generally speaking, if you have a foundation in World, you're going to be pretty familiar jumping into Rise. However, that being said, there are some big fundamental changes for the horn. One of the most noteworthy things is it just makes it incredibly easy to buff your team, buff yourself, play your songs, without even having to remember. One of the kind of main things that a lot of people often say about the horn is, I really want to use it, and I know the combos aren't hugely difficult, but I just can never remember my songs. You don't need to remember your songs ever again. One of the big changes they've done in Rise is that songs are now grouped into the same note type. So take the demo horn, for example. You have 3 songs, and they are all individually played by playing 2 of the same note. So basically, XX, or AA, or X plus A, X plus A. That is literally it. You don't have to think about a song that might be like X, A, X, or X, A, X plus A. It is literally XX, AA, X plus A, X plus A. That is it. You don't even have to look at your song list, anything like that, because the way in which you play songs is incredibly fluid, incredibly intuitive, and it's done in such a way that you're basically going to have 100% uptime. Let me explain. When you play a song, you no longer need to worry about what you would do in previous games where you would queue up the notes on your stave and you would then play that song to then get the buffs, encore that song to then get the better version. When you're playing with this, simply by pressing 2 of the notes back to back, worked into your combo, you will already have a recital. You'll notice that by, of course, this UI indicator and, of course, also just the visual, you know, the sort of stave that appears around your character. This is basically playing a song, and in doing this, you're playing the song and buffing your team. So already, that process is quicker. And of course, you can then do that by pressing all 3 of them. You can do your XX, you can do your AA, and you can do your XA, XA, and then you are complete. You've got your songs played, and you're ready to go. However, it gets even easier if you really want to simplify things. One of the other new things in Rise is a move called the Magnificent Trio. With this one, if you play one of each of the notes in any order, you can press X, A, X and A, or X and A, X, A, whatever it is, so long as one of each of the notes appears on the stave at the top of the screen, you then have a new UI prompt, which is the Magnificent Trio. Pressing Z, R and X together will allow you to play this, and this plays all of your songs. So now, as you can begin to see, you have 2 very quick, very easy ways to play songs. You either just double press the note and you're already playing it, or you just press one of 3 notes by, you know, just organically doing combos, queue up the Magnificent Trio, and again, you've played all of your songs. This has buffed it for your whole team, and again, you are then good to go. However, on top of that, there is one additional new element for the hunting horn, which is called the Infernal Melody. There is a gauge, you can see at the top left-hand corner of the screen, and this fills as you attack with this weapon. When it does get full, you can then play this at the end of either your Magnificent Trio or the end of your Slide Beat. Slide Beat is the Silkbind move where you slide across the ground. Basically, if you press this at the end of one of those 2, you will then play an additional and a special melody. This is where that spinning move from Iceborne comes in, and in doing so, it activates something else. So for this horn, we have Attack Up, defense up, and health recovery. Meanwhile, if you press the special melody, you also get Song of the Raging Flame, which boosts your attack considerably for a period of time. So as you can see, there are a lot of ways to stack up. Now, there are a couple of things worth noting. Of course, keep in mind we don't have access to the complete menu. We can't see armor sets or armor skills just yet, so it's a little hard to monitor stat changes just yet. So we can't, of course, see what degree these buffs are, increasing our stats, how much attack we're getting, how much defense we're getting. It is, however, worth noting that it does appear, at least by what we have to go on in the demo, that Encore is no longer a thing, at least not in the conventional sense, because, of course, if you remember back in traditional Hunting Horn use, you would play a song, say Attack Up, for example, or Attack Up Large, and you would play that song to get the buff. You would then encore that to push that up to Attack Up XL. Now, that doesn't appear to be the case in this game because, of course, anytime you play a song, you get a prompt on the right-hand side of the screen, and if you play that same song, it does not change that, nor do the notes or the wordings change colour. So currently, I'm under the assumption that encoring is just not a thing. Again, maybe it's one of those ideas of just trying to sort of get people to attack and play more aggressively and just like passively buff themselves like that. So that is also worth noting. Additionally, it's also worth mentioning that the echo notes, they are not in the conventional sense, or at least how they were introduced in Iceborne. We do have the echo note animation that appears as part of the special melody, the infernal melody. That's kind of part of the animation that happens at the end. But you cannot just go and play a song and then press R2 or ZR, should I say, to spin your horn and just basically kind of play an echo note. That is not present in Rise, so they've kind of taken an element of that from Iceborne, worked it into the infernal melody, but it is not in the conventional combo flow. However, there are two more things that I do want to touch on before just letting you guys watch some gameplay. The first one is self-improvement. Of course, that used to be the bog standard basic song that you would play as a Hunting Horn user to give you that increased movement speed. That is still a thing, but the way you play it now is not through notes. You can either simply draw into a recital by pressing ZR, and you can then play it. It'll give you self-improvement, so it's literally one button press. Or if you happen to be playing things like the Magnificent Trio, it is also worked into that recital. Additionally, something that is incredibly useful is that you no longer draw directly into your bog standard attack. If you press X to draw your weapon, you'll remember that of course in previous Monster Hunter games you would draw into that and that would be the first note you played. Now you simply draw the hunting horn, and from there you can then very quickly press a button that you want. So if you want to effectively draw into, say, an X plus A, you still have to press X to draw the weapon, but it won't actually play that note. It'll just whip out the horn, and you can then of course go from there to very quickly play the notes you want. So that is of course quite a nice quality of life improvement. But for the time being, those are essentially the changes to the hunting horn that we know of so far. Again, as I said before, keep in mind the demo is typically just a snapshot of the weapon. It is largely speaking a lot of what we'll be able to do, but as we've seen in previous demos, sometimes there are things you don't get to try out. So if you look at things like Generations back in the day, we didn't get to test out all the hunter art, so there could well be more Silkbind moves, more things to learn about this weapon, but based on what we have access to right now, that is what's new. Of course, in terms of your controls as well, you also have your two Silkbind moves in the demo. The first one is Slide Beat, which is the one where you propel yourself forward in a spinning attack. It grants you self-improvement and attack power boosts, and again, keep in mind you can work the special melody on the end of that. Alternatively, you have the Earthshaker, which is incredibly powerful. It's a Silkbind attack that you will fling your blade forward, you connect it with Iron Silk to your target, and it transmits a booming sonic attack. This does quite a lot of damage, and it's just pretty stylish. So, for the most part, that is a quick rundown on some of the changes, some of the new stuff for the hunting horn. I will be doing this for every single weapon. Some of the weapons are not as different as you might think. I know we've seen a lot of the weapon previews and a lot of them look quite flashy with the Silkbind moves, but when it actually comes to going hands-on with them, some of them are actually quite similar to World. But either way, I do plan to go over this with every single weapon. But for the time being, I'm going to leave you with some gameplay, a hunt against a monster using the weapon, so you can see some extended hunting horn action. So if you guys do enjoy this, a like would be super appreciated. Any questions, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what you want to see next. And of course, don't forget, it's not just going to be weapons. If there's more stuff you want to know about the demo, there's new mounting systems. There's, of course, all the wirebug stuff. Lots of stuff to talk about. So we'll have a ton of videos coming your way. If you want to catch more from us at Arekkz Gaming, don't forget you can catch the guys TwoSixNine, Paradise Central and Invest More streaming over on Twitch weekdays, playing a variety of games. If you guys want to jump in, tune in, watch and even join in, then make sure you check them out. The links to those are in the description box down below, and of course you can join the Discord to get involved in all of the discussions.